All right, everybody, welcome back to yet again another season preview for 22-23. We move on to Team 3 of 32 today with the Vegas Golden Knights. Interesting team here. So obviously Vegas missed the playoffs last year. They had a lot of injuries, if you look at it that way. Or are they going to make it this year? That's the big question. Honestly, my answer right now, it's looking like no. So anyways, let's start off here with what happened last season with the Vegas Golden Knights. They went 43-31-8 for 94 points. They had 266 goals for and 248 goals against, and they obviously missed the playoffs. Their leading scorer was Jonathan Marchessault with 30 goals, 36 assists for 66 points, and then their goaltender was obviously Robin Lehner with a 23-17-2 record with a 2.83 goals against average. Lehner obviously is going to be out for this season. We'll get into him in a little bit later. But obviously, after missing the playoffs, Vegas fired their coach Pete DeBoer and then came in and hired Bruce Cassidy. I like that move overall. But everything else, not too much. There is nothing to really be excited for here in Vegas. I mean, besides a full season with Jack Eichel. You look at their departures, and I mean, it's a significant list. It might not be a lot of players like some other teams, but it is a very significant list. Starting off here with Max Pacioretty, Evgeny Dadonov, Dylan Coghlan, and Matthias Janmark. Those are the four biggest players that have left. So that is rough. You obviously lost Pacioretty and Coghlan for nothing. You lost Dadonov in a trade, which was basically just a cap dump for the Canadiens. And then obviously you lost Janmark in free agency. So this team is in not a good spot there. And then obviously their only acquisition that is really notable is Saku Maninen, who's going to probably play some NHL time here as we move on. But it's not going to be it's not a significant improve from their departures. So it's not good. Really, it was just a rough offseason overall. They lost a lot of players, not as significant players, and I don't think this lineup is going to be able to tear it during the regular season. You look at their top six: Jonathan Marchessault, Jack Eichel, Mark Stone, Saku Maninen, the guy who was with their one arrival, Chandler Stevenson, and Riley Smith. That is a weak top six, and they are most significantly weak down the left wing end. They are very weak down there. Obviously, Maninen's probably not going to be the second line. It's likely going to be Colasar or Howden, but still, that is rough. And then you look at their bottom six there. You have Brett Howden, William Karlsson, Nicholas Watt, William Carrier, Jake Leschyshyn, and Michael Amadio. Then you have Keegan Colasar and Mikhail Ronsberg as side players there as well. Obviously, Nolan Patrick is going to be out for a little bit there. He's going to be put on LTIR. And then as well as that, obviously Leonard's going to be out too. So you probably move Leschyshyn up to that fourth line center spot. But, I mean, that offense really isn't a lineup that I think is going to do some damage in that Pacific Division. Now, that division is still weak. You could argue teams have gotten worse. Calgary's probably one of the teams that either stays the same or gets worse. But a lot of the other teams are on their way up. Besides teams like San Jose, every other team is going to be half decent in that division. LA got some good acquisitions. Anaheim, McTavish looks really good. Zegras, obviously. You have some good young guys there in Anaheim. They'll need some time to grow, but it's still not looking too good for Vegas. And then obviously there you have Vancouver. You have Edmonton to worry about, and then Calgary as well. So I don't know. And I mean, I don't see Vegas really taking a top three spot in that division. And if they're going to make the playoffs, it's likely going to have to be through a wild card. But then you have the Central Division, which is going to be competitive for 6 of those 8 teams in there. So it is rough. It is difficult. When you look at their defense, you have Shea Theodore and Alex Pietrangelo. Then you have Alec Martinez and Zach Whitecloud. Then you have Brandon McNabb and Miro Manoff. And then you have Ben Hutton there as well as an extra defender. So defense is pretty strong. I like that top 4. Very strong top 4. I've always liked that for Vegas, but I'm not sure if, obviously, the third pairing is not going to hold up too well. And, I mean, they don't have much really good depth, to be honest with you. Vegas doesn't have good depth or any notable players down in that depth chart at all, really. And then you look at their goaltending, that is not going to fly. It is not going to fly. Laurent Brossoit and Logan Thompson is looking like your 2 goalie tandem right now. And then you obviously have Michael Hutchinson waiting down there as well for maybe a chance. I don't think that flies. I mean, it's kind of like Toronto's goaltending. I don't think Toronto's goaltending or Vegas's is really going to fly when you get into the NHL season. Definitely not. So I would imagine Vegas kind of makes a trade or at least looks in on some other goalies that may be out there on the market. Most notable that comes to mind is San Jose. They're overloaded with goalies right now. Obviously, they're willing to sell James Reimer off to any team that will give up a second-round pick. And for Vegas, a team who is looking to win right now, that's their expectation, that's not that bad of a price to give up. So I think, honestly, maybe they do go out and get a guy like James Reimer. And he's not some amazing goaltender that's going to really come in and just save your life and look like nothing happened like you just had Leonard. But no, he's not going to be like that. But he can be a solid goalie who can give some experience points and just some veteran leadership with goalies like Logan Thompson, who really showed some sparks of good last year. So we'll see what happens there, obviously. But overall, I don't see that lineup really doing too much. I don't see that lineup really tearing up that division all too well. So right now, I'm really not sure. Your biggest question. So how will the team do without Robin Lehner? That is the biggest question. Now, obviously, that links to what we were just talking about. And it is interesting there because if they can get Reimer, I think they'll be better off. But really, a Brossoit-Thompson tandem is not going to work. I think they definitely need to go out and get some other goalie. I know Reimer's not the only goalie out there that's willing to be traded, so maybe they go out and get somebody else. Maybe there's somebody in free agency they randomly just sign, or maybe they have a Pittsburgh situation where someone like DeSmith or Jara comes up and plays well. Who knows? Something could happen there with Vegas, but I don't think that tandem's going to fly. Really, I don't. Their other question kind of links to the Leonard question. Will they stay healthy? That is the biggest question there for Vegas. When you look at Vegas' team last year, part of the reason why they even missed out was because they weren't really healthy at all. So it is a big question. Well, if they're healthy next season, does that push them closer to the playoffs? I think if they're healthy, it gives them a better chance. If they're not, definitely not. But I really don't know. Vegas, I never thought I'd say this, but they're honestly kind of the wild card team right now in that Pacific Division. But anyways, moving on to your point projections for 2022-23, according to the Hockey News. So Vegas here has Eichel ranked first with 80 points. They have a three-way tie for second with Marchessault, Stone, and Stevenson all having 60. And then obviously there you have Shea Theodore with 51. So interesting there. Some good guys. Obviously Eichel's likely going to lead this team, getting a full season to play with Vegas. And then as for your sleeper or bust, it's also Chandler Stevenson. So an injury-plagued season for the Knights saw Chandler Stevenson play top-line minutes en route to a 64-point season. With the Knights fully healthy, he slides on the depth chart, so his usage and production will likely decrease. And that makes sense, obviously, because, Stevenson, a weaker type, a forward who showed some good sparks during the season for Vegas. I've always liked him. Was always an underrated center. I think he could get top 6 minutes, but Carlson may overtake him for that. So he's kind of really going to be forced down to the third line, which does make sense. And it is unfortunate, but I think that's what's honestly going to happen. So now, anyways, our next question, and probably our biggest question is, well, do they make the playoffs? Now, I had Vegas making the playoffs the past 2 years in 2021 and 2022. For this year, I'm honestly going to say no. I think this team barely misses out, maybe gets 6th place, or maybe gets 5th, or maybe even 4th, and just misses out on a spot. I think that honestly could happen, especially if that division, especially if that Pacific Division is competitive, like it was last year, because obviously Kings were very good, the Oilers were good, and the Flames were great. Flames will be worse, but I think they'll still be solid. They'll probably finish like 2nd, maybe 3rd in that division. So really, their only chance, and I'll go back to this, their only chance is getting a wild card spot. And with that competitive Central Division, do they get one? So there are a lot of questions right now surrounding the Vegas Golden Knights. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you all very much for watching. For personally, I really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe down below if you are new. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.